Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the World Championship Series Premier League Season 2 Finals. We are here for Day 2, and hold up, where are we? Oh, right, wonderful city of Toronto, Canada. That's right, we're back for another day of more StarCraft. And what more could we ask for on such a beautiful Saturday? But today, it's not going to be as happy as yesterday. It's actually a lot more tense. Today, fates get decided. People will start being eliminated from the round of 16. And we have more people moving on to the round of 8. Who will move on to the quarterfinals to try to go for that trophy and the 2,000 sweet WCS points? We're about to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, many more intense matches today. Every single one counts. Players could relax a little bit yesterday. We could relax a little bit yesterday. Not anymore. You guys got to cheer for every single map, every single move, and every single match and player. Are you all ready? I hope you're all ready at home too. Hope everyone got a good night's rest, because a packed day is just about to start.
It is time for a very exciting day. We have, as mentioned already in the pregame, and as Chobra's mentioned on stage, a must-win game for every single player today. Still joined here by In Control and, of course, Huck. This is a day for every single player to prove themselves that they're worth and that they are good enough to go through to the round of 8, where we've seen the dominant players just slide straight into. We've seen the Pult dominate. We've seen Hydra dominate. We saw Lilbo dominate as well. And of course, Stardust going through. And now it's time to find the players that will join them. Do we have players today that are playing that are good enough to challenge those players in the round of 8, Jeff?
Absolutely. And I think even day 1, you could say that about all 16 of these players. I really do believe that. I think what's cool about this is that there's a lot of justified hype, but it's the finals. This is the Season 2 finals. So for that hype, for some of them, it's going to ground to a halt. But for others, it's going to keep on going. And that's the really cool story about building towards BlizzCon, is this the launch pad where we're like, oh my God, in Season 3, what are they going to do? Or is it the, like, come to grips with reality that maybe you're a little bit out of your element? You're in too deep of water.
Well, the first thing we're going to be doing over here is going into Group A. So Group A, as we've mentioned, has 3 players left that are fighting for 1 position. Kung Fu Panda is in the decider match, so he's going to be playing a best of 3 against one of the players that is coming onto stage very soon. And this is a big game to start the day now. It's ForGG, who was one of the hottest, if not the hottest player towards the end of 2014, coming into 2015. And we all know Terran versus Terran is his matchup, and he takes on the European player, the best at the moment non-Korean player in StarCraft II, Bunny. We can look at this matchup. Chris, as it's an obvious must-win for both sides, but Bunny has a chance to play at the global finals. The only other player to have done this outside of Korea is Naniwa back in 2013. Bunny has that chance to be that guy this year. Failure today, he kisses that goodbye.
Oh, it's such a stressful, like as a professional player, that's such a burden to carry. And it's in his toughest matchup as well, which is always something he's going to struggle with. And on top of that, ForGG has always been a TvT beast. Like this is his best matchup by far. So it's really stacked against him, but that's what it's all about. If you want to be the best foreigner, you have to overcome odds and you have to overcome obstacles.
And we've seen players do that in the past, and he needs to step up to the challenge today. As you've mentioned, ForGG, this is his perfect matchup. He's landed on it, but he's also failed in this department as well. It's not like it's a 100% win for him. Bunny is good enough to challenge, as we saw, or attempt to almost beat the champion in Season 1. Bunny had the games against Paul in the semifinals. It was 2-3 in his series. It's still today he believes he should and could have won.
Yeah.
And now he goes up against ForGG. It's still possible for Bunny to win this, but ForGG is going to be feeling confident, no doubt, Jeff.
This is his matchup, so that's the comfort level. But I think the general discomfort that they all share is what we've always been talking about. Both these guys face elimination, and maybe even yesterday, ForGG was like, oh, this group, I've got a Protoss, I do very well there as well. TvT should be great.
Yep.
But now, not so much. He actually, by all accounts, put up a pretty poor performance on that B stage. And today is that day of proving grounds, like we were talking about, redemption. It's his best matchup. Should he get past that, he'll face Gung Fu Bandit, who knocked him down to begin with. So it's a hard day, but it's a day of proving it.
Day of proving it, and we'll see if he is capable, both sides capable to do this. But of course, the first player we're going to look at is the DreamHack 2014 champion, ForGG.
I really want more trophy, and I didn't do good result WCS, so I want to champion WCS. I'm very exciting to go Canada. There are many fans, big crowd. Hopefully they will like my playing.
ForGG trying to make this one more push so that he can bring an end to this series so he can move on to the finals for this season in Toronto. 2 Thors do get grabbed.
2015 is just so-so. I didn't do great result, but also not so much bad. Just so-so. Canada should cheer for me because I love Canada.
ForGG advances first place.
The lovable ForGG, the 2014 DreamHack champion, who joined only a select few to be a Brood War champion into a StarCraft II champion. Only a couple of people have done that. And let's talk a little bit about ForGG. He catapulted himself into 2015 with the best possible record and form to have a shot at the global finals at the end of the year. He missed it out in 2013, being roughly, I think it was around rank 22. 2014, similar position, almost 23 or 24 to be exact. 2015, hot off the DreamHack Winter tournament that he picked up. He entered and started the year a little bit slow, but he started to pick up pace again. And right now, if we look at the last 2 years and what maybe next year could be, this is his best chance to play at the global finals to do well this year, Chris.
For sure, and I've known this guy a while. I live with him, as I said before, in the OGS house. He really, really wants this so badly. I've talked to him personally. He said, like, he's been living in Europe for a while. He's dedicated to this. This is his choice. He's moved there. He needs to make something happen here. You know, you don't want to ever look back and think, you know, I had that chance. I didn't do it. I didn't pull the trigger. He just has to play his game. At the end of the day, he's a good enough player. He has the potential. He is the best European player in my eyes and most people's eyes. He just has to bring it today, because if not, he's gonna drop out.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll talk more about the matchup in a couple of moments, but it's time to bring the players onto the stage.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. So excited to be here, so excited to start the day. First match in Group A. Our very first player will be the man going for his golden chance at the global finals at the end of the year. And you heard him, he loves Canada. That's why he wants to win this weekend in the Season 2 Championships. Playing for Team Millennium, it will be ForGG. His opponent so close yet so far. Can he take one more step, getting closer to those global finals at BlizzCon at the end of the year? Let's find out, ladies and gentlemen. Playing for Team Liquid, it will be Bunny. It's time for the face-off. Players, please shake each other's hands, enter your booths, and let's get this first match started.
Every single game so important. I cannot stress that enough, especially when it comes to the individual players. And knowing how much WCS really means to everybody that's playing here today. Bunny, a player that joined the system in 2012 as an unknown player. His ID back then, Dream Bunny, playing in the Denmark Nationals way back when. He made his name there. He started to challenge the likes of the national competition. And from there, continued to follow the dream, which he still follows today, to reach a finals. So close in Season 1, another chance here in Season 2, and we've mentioned about ForGG as well. He's been so close to make it to the global finals, and he wants it very, very badly. And this is an epic matchup between these two. Terran versus Terran, a best of 3. How do you see this match shaping up here, Chris? You got ForGG, who's so very good at this matchup, so very good at mech. Bunny has to bring equal, if not better, skill.
Yeah, and we saw yesterday Marine Lord playing against Pult. Those are really close games, and we know Marine Lord has very good TvT, and he's been practicing with ForGG, and he's actually become a very decent practice partner for him. So I expect that, you know, ForGG is going to be even more on top of his game at this point. I think Bunny's going to run into a lot of trouble, but he's going to have to bring something special. I don't think he can play ForGG in a straight-up game, you know? He can't match him in mech, he can't match him in bio. He has to figure out some way to trick him build order-wise or micro-wise.
Well, Bunny yesterday went up against Hydra, the Season 1 finalist, and he went in there feeling confident, but let's be honest here, he got put down, and got put down like a lot of other players yesterday, but he has a chance today to turn this around, to turn this group around, to fight for the chance to play at the global finals and represent Europe, represent his country, and really put himself at the forefront of StarCraft II outside of Korea. Jeff, what are some of the things when you look at Bunny that just absolutely stand out for you?
I love Chris's point from earlier where he said if you're going to be a champion, you have to overcome your biggest obstacles. He went 2-3 against Pult not too long ago in his worst matchup. Now, facing elimination, there's ForGG, the brick in the road. This guy is a wall of TvT terror, and if Bunny's going to advance, he's going to need to beat this guy, and I like it. He's got clean mechanics. You know, I agree with Chris. Yeah. Probably can't match him in mech. Yeah. ForGG's more, not necessarily a bio guy, but I think Bunny can do it. He's going to have to be clever.
ForGG, of course, top 8 from Season 1, and funny enough, both of these players fell victim to the eventual champion. Pult eliminated both of them from the tournament there a few months back in France. ForGG did not have the best start to this tournament, though. From what we saw, he played against Kung Fu Panda, and it wasn't close. No. He made mistakes, he tripped over, and now he, very similar to Bunny, needs to recover to find himself on 2 feet.
And he's got to do it. I mean, he is the person that on paper is expected to win. Like Chris said, he's probably the best player in Europe right now. To lose now would be an overwhelming defeat, not just in his attempt at going to BlizzCon, but really as a pro gamer in his career.
The first map is going to be Coda for a Terran versus Terran here, a small 2-player map here. Chris, what are some of the elements of this map that we could see play out for both sides?
Well, if we do see bio versus mech, bio's going to have to really find a hole to drop, harass, keep those multi-prong attacks happening, and as a mech player, you know, we saw really close games, as I brought up before, Pult versus Marine Lord, where Pult went for a very big drop, lost 4 or 5 medevacs, and almost threw the game. So at the same time, you know, the mech player is going to have to use sensor towers, turrets, lock down his bases, and try to get to a maxed army.
All right, well, we'll see how well this shapes up and what styles we're going to see. Is it going to be mech that we know so well from ForGG? Is it going to be bio coming out to play? It's a best of 3. Everything is on the line. We're going to go to the commentary team to kickstart Season 2, Day 2 here in Toronto, Canada. Let's go to the commentary team and begin.
That's right. It really comes down to this. It is serious time now for both of these players. BlizzCon and the Global Finals is in reach, but for one of them here at the start of day number 2, that could all come crashing down. These WCS points are getting very, very important now, and for these two, in this situation, in the loser's game, that's pretty brutal.
Someone's going to be very sad here at the end of this match, sadly for them, but you know, this is how it is. Yep. Finding themselves in this match, though, you know, it's really what it comes down to, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on both of these guys. All
right, we're getting into game number 1 here between our 2 Terrans, and it's a matchup that is rife with history here as we get into Coda for game number 1. In this Terran versus Terran, one of these guys is going home, and the other one will fight on. As we have spawning down at the bottom right-hand corner, it's our red Terran representing Millennium. It is ForGG. And it could be the potentially last time we see this gent. Up to the top left in the blue, representing Team Liquid, it's Bunny.
Fun fact, this matchup, Bunny versus ForGG, was actually the very first match that we saw exactly 2 years, 2 months and 4 days ago in WCS Season 1 Europe, back then for the round of 32. And now here they meet again. They've met quite a few times actually over the years. Got a lot of history together overall. ForGG is definitely doing better in regards of that.
I remember that match very, very fondly, Todd, back way when.
Akill on waist, Hellbat drops.
Akill on waist, Hellbat drops, it was all about it. Bunny showed that, you know, he had the makings of someone who was able to perform extremely well, but wasn't quite up to the level of ForGG back then. And also, important to note, is that Bunny, everyone knows he has this kind of Achilles heel that he believes to be his Terran versus Korean Terran. And in the last 8 series against Korean Terrans, he has indeed lost. But the 9th, all the way back when, here in Toronto at the Intel Extreme Masters, he was able to beat Polt. And that is the last time he's actually won a TvT against a Korean. So maybe Toronto is his good luck charm.
I think they believe it too. ForGG though, he's really, really solid in Terran versus Terran. He's always talked about how good he is at the matchup. It's very hard to find a weakness for ForGG, you know, in the matchup. Maybe, I would say maybe one of the things that could play in his disfavor is how he likes to be really aggressive and sometimes, really only sometimes, gets overly aggressive. If you know that as Bunny and you focus on defending really well, whatever's going to be thrown at you, you might be able to do well. You know, maybe get lucky here and there, you know, with catching a Banshee, something like that, defending well against the initial drop. But so far, very identical builds here from both players with the gas first, which in Terran versus Terran definitely, you know, is one of the standard builds that you can do. Second, gas here at the exact same time for both players. I'm already taking Banshees.
Yeah, those could quite easily come out. Or if somebody wants to really go down that defensive route that you mentioned before, go even for a Raven to try and catch your opponent off guard and make that defense a little bit easier.
Bunny actually, I think I've seen him sometimes do that, you know, and get that Raven out very, very quickly to be able to defend against that.
We'll see how he's going to play this one out. We did see Terran versus Terran yesterday between Marine Lord, obviously, and Polt, where Polt was able to exploit Marine Lord quite heavily. But despite this being not exactly Bunny's favorite matchup of all time, I think he's still very, very talented in the matchup. We saw in Season 1 when he was able to go toe-to-toe with the eventual champion, Polt there, 3-2. And to be honest, that series could have gone quite easily the other way.
It's very interesting already the contrast, if you look at both of their bases, where like ForGG didn't even wall off his ramp with Supply Depot, whereas Bunny did. And even the Marine positioning here, for the longest time, look at this, Bunny's just sitting there at the ramp where Reaper could hop in, whereas ForGG was mostly, you know, just staying at the regular ramp around his natural.
You're right. Against ForGG, you almost always want that Supply Depot wall, because Hellions, by this man, by ForGG, are scary as anything. But look, in terms of how the builds have shaped up here, Todd, Banshee for Bunny, while ForGG is going to play the more defensive structure.
Yeah. I expected the opposite, to be honest, but I guess ForGG here, maybe... it's too early to tell whether or not he's going to be better. He should be better, you know, assuming he's in a good position when that Banshee flies in. And I fully expect, you know, both players from there, you know, to go into an expansion. ForGG is going to start actually a much earlier command center as well as his first tank. Nothing yet like that from Bunny. Both players didn't scout a single thing, by the way. They haven't seen anything from the opponents. Bunny really the only one to send a Marine in the middle of the map to get that watchtower, and now he's going to fly in with the first Banshee.
I really like how ForGG's position at the moment. Of course, he can be able to deter this. You know, the Cloak is not finished yet, and obviously the Raven will be able to shut that down. But the way he's actually transitioned onto tanks pretty fast here compared to Bunny, as much as he's playing against the grain, normally he's very aggressive, would like to be in there very fast. But it almost looks as if he's going to be setting up for that kind of 2 siege tank push out and being aggressive in the later stages after he's got his economy in check. Yeah,
whereas Bunny made a Widowmine, which really is not going to do much, I think.
Yeah.
It looks like he's queued it to send it a little bit like towards the opposite side of the map, maybe to burrow it there and hope that something you know runs into it. But if ForGG was to move out with an entire army and take his Raven with it, he just kind of demined the field very easily. and march across the map with more tanks. ForGG, the good thing for him is that he's so good versus Stern, in turn versus Stern, that if he gets ahead on the tank counts by just like 1, 2, or even 3, he's always going to realize it and push with it. And look, he has every intention to be aggressive here with this.
Yeah, he doesn't know about his opponent's Raven just yet, I don't believe. So, of course, that point defense drone is something that when you're contending for air dominance is very important. In these situations especially, when you're trying to position yourself well. But look at this.
Bunny saw it.
Yeah.
I think one bunker here definitely might come a long way to helping with this. This second siege tank here by Bunny cannot come out soon enough. I think he's just going to siege it up the ramp as well.
The Widow Mine is actually going to cause any reinforcements to have a bit of a hard time. Those 2 Hellions, one of them is already going to die, half health goes down on the other one, and the siege tanks are well positioned here for Bunny to greet this. I don't think he should have huge amount of problems, and he's keeping the pressure on the other side of the map here against ForGG.
The thing is, ForGG has complete air control with his 2 Vikings here, plus the Raven, so he's going to... Oh, wow. He's actually just going to go for a Seeker Missile here.
Getting himself some SCVs as well here. Seeker Missile will actually land on that first siege tank. That opens up the natural. Slowly moving himself forward. Tries to get on the siege tanks before they actually get the opportunity to siege up. But it's not going to be enough just yet. That one siege tank from the high ground here for Bunny is doing quite a bit of work against those Marines. But the Banshee at the back got itself 6 kills as well. Denied a lot of mining time here. So if Bunny can weather the storm, if he can hold on against this from him, he should be able to be pushed it back.
Oh, he actually killed one of the gases back in ForGG's base. He's killing even more SCVs right now. Bunny's held this. Look at the supply. 69 to 38.
10 worker kills on this Banshee as well, and he's been able to weather it. Bunny here with a brilliant little hold. He's going to lose himself a siege tank. A good pickup there for ForGG, but it's 39 workers against 17. Bunny is riding a high right now.
ForGG in a bit of a panic, threw down a second turret back at home, and the Banshee of Bunny flew into it and died, but he still got another one shooting down at that Banshee. Is like the hero of Bunny's army so far.
And for ForGG, you've got to think about this. He is in a position where he could potentially be eliminated. He put all of his hopes on that one attack, and it didn't work, and now he is catastrophically behind
Bunny
here.
moving the Widow Mine from like where he was at the bottom into the middle line at the natural. ForGG is mining so little. 14 SCVs to 39. He's on the ropes, man. There's really...
Oh, and this Widow Mine as well. Not only can he not transfer down there, he can't demand... And he loses the Banshee! One of his only opportunities to try and bring back some of this deficit has been eliminated. And now he's going to have to rebuild an empire which has crumbled.
Quite literally rebuild an empire, Kailaris, yes. This is what I was talking about. ForGG loves his aggression, and in this game he wasn't... I don't even know if I should call it an aggression as much as it was an all-in here. He banked everything on this doing damage. He was defended very successfully by a very, very strong Bunny so far today. This is looking much better than the way he did yesterday in his first match against Hydra.
Bunny realizes the lead that he's in at the moment. 18 workers killed off during that assault there while he was defending brilliantly. His siege tank timing was really good to just be able to defend that as long as it was coming across the other side of the map from ForGG.
ForGG's base and like his production and his army, they all look kind of sad, to be honest. Like, he's got a few Hellions low on hit points, like some Vikings, a Banshee and a Raven just like moving out. I'm not sure what he's hoping for, maybe to catch Bunny off guard.
Heads up has been given here by the SCV at the front.
He's still gonna try to do the same thing, I guess. Keep, you know, fighting with the air control that he has. Leap forward a little bit with the tanks, you know, and try and maybe get a good engagement. I don't know.
Technically, ForGG still has air dominance here. This one Banshee, though, again, a thorn in his side here for ForGG. He's almost against a timer if that Banshee's able to do quite a bit. Catching reinforcements is nice. Cloaked up at the moment, drops a scan, tries to clean that up with 2 Vikings. Actually, he's going to be very, very close to actually dying off. And because it stops there, he's going to get it. He drops the second scan anyway to guarantee. Saves himself that siege tank. Really needs to bring on the pressure now, as he knows he is against a timer. He is down half the economy here of him. Good Hunter Seekers will kill off one of those, but still, he needs to do more here, Todd.
ForGG is doing one of the only things here that he can do to come back in this game, sniping the tanks of his opponent, trying to out-tank him, I guess. Get way more siege tanks, in which case, if he gets a good engagement, he might be able to do it. But right now, Bunny is researching Steam Pack, he's pumping out a lot of units. As long as he stays in this a little bit longer, he might just be able to pull SCVs, defend this, and then win the game.
Him sending the Raven over the other side is quite an ambitious move. That Banshee at the front isn't really being contested. Scan has to be dropped for it. He's going to be moving in with all of his SCVs here. Bunny knows if he can just break out of this, he is going to be in a great position. Loses a few SCVs for his trouble, but pushes ForGG away. GG! Game number 1. goes to Bunny here in this Terran versus Terran. And now as ForGG, you've got to be sweating because you are one game away from having some of your WCS here in 2015 completely dashed away from you.
Maybe it's too early to say this, but the Toronto crowd here, quite possibly, is Lucky Charm in Terran versus Korean Terran. Playing really well in that game. You know, the defense looked like it was going to be really hard from the start because ForGG, you know, he had a bunch of Vikings. He had complete air control and usually he does really well in that situation. Blew up a tank very quickly, but in the end, that Banshee across the map on hold position killed what, like 6 SCVs, a depot, a gas.
Yeah.
The murderer, look at this.
Exactly, and for ForGG in this position, in assault mode, I'm going to call it, once you take away your SCVs from the line...
Oh, that tank on the high ground, by the way, was a massive big deal. I thought it might be a little bit too far when he first sieged that there, but in the end, helped a lot.
It was perfect. His siege tank timing was meticulous here by Bunny to just greet this when he needed to. But again, even if you're not killing SCVs over the other side with that Banshee, you're denying them so much mining time, and that is slowly putting him back all the time because ForGG never got to the economy lines of Bunny after this great defense.
Yeah, these auto turrets actually in defense were a massive big deal. They helped so much. And Bunny, man, that was quite impressive. That's more like it, you know. Yesterday struggled a lot, but we're seeing the real Bunny here today, playing really, really well.
Yeah, that's solid from him to start things off here in this series. Game number 1 goes to Bunny. He can kind of alleviate that curse of going up against Korean Terrans. Obviously, he got very close in Season 1 against Palt there. Unfortunately for him, falling 3-2 against the defending champion. But now here against ForGG, you know, it's well documented that ForGG in the foreign scene is the scariest, one of the scariest guys in this matchup. Right now, Bunny has brought the fight to him as we get into game number 2 here between ForGG and Bunny. One of these guys is going home, one of them will continue on. So Toronto, let's get into it. Spawning down to the south, it's our Red Terran representing Team Millennium. It is ForGG. And up to the north, one game away from keeping his hopes alive here in the World Championship Series, representing Team Liquid, it's Bunny!
Bunny actually really not that far from that, you know, top 16 WCS World rankings. He's in the 20-ish ranks right now. I believe ranked 23. So with a very strong performance here, the dream would be alive.
Yeah.
Last year, Snoot barely did not make it.
Yep.
I'm sure Bunny would be really happy with making it.
It's completely the same for ForGG. Bunny ranked 23, ForGG ranked 26. This is really, really do or die for both of these guys. I don't think, looking at this group and how it's unfolded, these two individuals both saw themselves in the lower bracket game for elimination. And that's the reality right now we face with Bunny taking that 1-0 lead. If ForGG falls out of WCS here in Season 2, this early on in the round of 16, that's almost unprecedented for a player of his caliber.
Yeah, it's whoever wins here though doesn't advance immediately. They still have to take on Kung Fu Panda, but definitely, you know, a good step towards that here. And Bunny is actually gonna go for a scout pretty earlier in this game. Not quite like in the previous one where neither of them went to explore really anything up until very, very late. He wants to know exactly what opener he's up against. And he's gonna find it out.
I'm going to send that on forwards here. Reaper's already started for him behind all of this. This is almost the messenger to send relay information back for this Reaper, just so he knows what to expect once he actually gets there. And he will poke on up, see the fact that the barracks is indeed complete, and see the factory is going down pretty swiftly.
Remember, this is a really good map for Reapers here, and ForGG not choosing to go for that. He's going to have to defend really well against Bunny's Reapers. Not sure how many it's going to be. We'll see if he starts a second one. I'm pretty sure yes, with the gas that he has. Nope. Just going to go for a reactor pretty quickly behind it. So just with the single Reaper here to apply some pressure.
Good catch there for that one Marine as well. SCV having a bit of a harder time to actually getting out of there. But here comes the first Reaper. There's only one Marine out at the moment.
He didn't see the second gas yet. Second refinery here.
Needs to just scoot on around, and he can because it is such a good map for the Reapers. He can come in from a more uncommon location and hiding in plain sight, which is basically the ramp. You don't need to always jump up the cliff here as a Reaper. You can happily just go in the front door because the Marines were positioned for the jump.
Yeah, this is a big deal here. Getting to spot that second refinery this early on, seeing the starport here as well, he knows that well. A lot of the time it's going to be Cloak Banshee or Raven. And Bunny opening himself with a fairly quick command center can start setting up for the defense, you know, with its own factory behind it. He's probably going to get his own starport ASAP. Can get an eBay. Also timed exactly at about the time, you know, he's going to need to maybe get turrets to defend against the Banshee. And now it's going to be the time now where for Bunny's Reaper to go up that ramp is going to be really dangerous because there's quite a few Marines out.
It's funny when you think about it because the way ForGG opened in the previous game, which was a little bit more defensive into the more aggressive stance, this strategy choice, which is more aggressive by nature, is the choice that ForGG has gone for when he is at his most vulnerable, when he is one game away from being eliminated. So he goes back to old tropes of basically being in his opponent's face very quickly, getting these Banshees, getting the cloak, and exploiting some of the finest details that he's had in his game, which has been that aggressive control.
Yeah, we'll see though if he wants to commit to some big attack with this on this map. It's definitely, you know, a little bit hard to pull off. At the same time, you can maybe, you know, use the map overlay to your advantage, siege from down there, take out the production facilities of your opponents. But for ForGG, I really don't think he's known for that low economy, like big aggressive style. Usually, controlled aggression with, you know, more expanse and some good macro behind it is what he's really good at. But like I said before, sometimes he gets overly aggressive, and I do think this is what might have happened in the first game with the not so good execution of his push.
This can be scary for Bunny though. I mean, he's got 3 missile turrets going down. The Banshees are on the way, yes, and it will be able to shut down the economy damage actually from being done. But if he's hitting so hard with these 2 siege tanks early on and using the Banshees just in a full frontal assault anyway, all of the money got into those missile turrets takes away from the potential defense at the front. Of
course, the Widowmine is really scary here because there is no detection for ForGG, so he might just walk into that with a bunch of Marines and lose a lot of them, in which case defending this is going to be much easier for Bunny. Bunny already having a medivac. I was wondering if he was going to, you know, drop that down the ramp here to try and sandwich this attack.
I don't think he's fully read into this, but he could lose a lot of Marines. He could lose a lot of Marines. Oh, so a lot of those are very, very low right now. That's really going to take the wind out of the sails here of this push.
And Bunny is going to counter-attack with a medivac filled with Marines here. He wants to wreck the economy of ForGG while having enough to defend back at home.
Great siege tank positioning. He's also able to get to the SCVs at the back of this bunker if he needs to. But he doesn't really have much to defend against this. Drops the scan, kills off that Widowmine.
The drop's happening across the map.
Needs to push. He's going to lose a lot of SCVs if he's not careful. He doesn't have enough reinforcements. The SCVs actually have to be pulled off in a terrible position here against the Marines. It's 13 workers killed off to 11. Bunny has more workers behind all of this.
One of the Banshees died instantly to that Viking, and now ForGG has to go for it, much like in the previous game.
He's only got 6 workers left. He's down to 5. ForGG is crumbling. It's all on this push here for ForGG. If this push does not work at the front, he is out. And he kills off a few more Marines. There you go. GG. Bunny stays alive here in the World Championship Series after a very, very quick 2-0. Great resilience here by Bunny to be able to hold on against the torrent of aggression that we see from ForGG, notorious for it, and he was bested.
All right, what a cheer once again for Team Liquid's Bunny going to the final match of the group. A very quick 2-0. Now, I mean, first of all, you had a loss yesterday, but you bounced right back. You took that quick 2-0, now you're moving on to the final match. Just how do you feel moving on? I mean, you still have one more step before going on to the quarterfinals.
I feel really good. I really needed this win. I think after my series versus Hydra yesterday, I lost pretty badly, so I wasn't feeling that confident. But I think having the losers match the day after really helped me because I took some time to recollect myself and get ready.
All right, so that time really helping you out. I mean, crowd is loving you, man. Before we go to the end of the interview, how much do you love this crowd?
It's really great, man. Toronto is always awesome. The crowds are always good.
Yeah, another big shout out for Toronto, Canada, of course. Now, your final match going up against Kung Fu Panda. Everyone kind of counted Kung Fu Panda out, said it was a group of death with you 3, and then Kung Fu Panda just kind of there as the outlier. But now he's there waiting for you in that decider match. What do you think about going up against him?
He's kind of an up-and-coming player. and he hasn't had that much stage experience, but he seems like to be one of those players who doesn't concern himself that much with the result and just plays and does his best. So he's a pretty scary opponent, even if he doesn't have that much experience. But I'm still confident after this win.
All right, well, we're not going to take too much of your time because you do have to play that decider match once again. One step closer to that global final. It's Team Liquid's Bunny.
What a fantastic performance and start to Bunny here. In day 2, I couldn't believe it. In 10 minutes, it was over, and what we thought could be a very difficult and very long series, gentlemen, turned out to be a very one-sided and easy victory for Bunny. That's not what we expected at all, right?
These high-pressure matches can be really kind of polarizing in results. Like ForGG, if something starts to go wrong, like we kind of saw in those games, it can kind of snowball. You can be like, oh my God, I'm going to lose a couple games and be out of here. And the reverse is true. If a couple things go right, all of a sudden those butterflies flutter out of your stomach and you're feeling pretty good. And Bunny's like a new man. I mean, he didn't play horribly against Hydra, but Hydra's playing so well that it made him look to be playing at a lower level. But here, he's on fire.
All right, let's, but I mean, I want to continue talking about Bunny, but we have to look on the other side now. ForGG. We talked about it. 2015 was his year to try and get to the global finals. He's just outside the top 16, and he just couldn't perform, sadly, this weekend. He lost very easily versus Kung Fu Panda. He had a day to rest, just like Bunny did, and he lost very easily against Bunny here as well, Chris. This must be a very difficult time for him.
Yeah, we could clearly see it on his face after that match. I mean, just so much disappointment. He's kind of flabbergasted, I'm sure, like, what just happened to me?
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to still have a shot, but all in all, losing especially to Bunny when he's supposed to be the best European in his best matchup. Bunny's worse.
Yeah.
Like, that's got to be a big disappointment.
Crazy result there.
Stardust talked about this yesterday when he won. He was like, you know, if I would have lost this, because he's talking a lot about WCS and BlizzCon.
Yeah.
He was like, it was going to be expensive. I'd have to go to every single event and do very well to make up the difference in points. And I see the same path for ForGG. We see him at all the tournaments, all the IEMs, the DreamHacks. Now, each one that he goes to, that intensity compounds. He's like, oh my God, if I don't get top 8, if I don't get top 4, I'm not going.
Yeah, very difficult time here for ForGG, but let's take a look at the bracket just to 100% show you where we are and what we've done here in Group A. One final match remains. Kung Fu Panda will go up against Bunny in a best-of-3. Moments away, we're going to go straight into it as Bunny fights to continue to hopefully get into the round of 8 just like he did in Season 1. He goes up against the newcomer to the system, the newcomer to the Premier League, the German player Kung Fu Panda. We'll talk a lot about this after the break, but first thoughts here. This is a fantastic start for Bunny. He's got his confidence back. He's just beat ForGG. He must be feeling on top of the world at the moment going into a match against a player that he's beat at home on the ladder on a regular basis, Chris.
Yeah, and that's the biggest point, is he's going into this hot right now. He's been playing, he's like set up in the booth, he's all ready to go. He knows, you know, he's got his setup figured out. Kung Fu Panda, you know, he just woke up, maybe he's played a few warm-up games on the ladder, but all in all, he has to move his stuff. He might not feel the same way as Bunny. Bunny already knows he's good to go. He's playing great. He's confident in himself. I think Bunny's going to take it.
Final thoughts here, Jeff?
Just woke up. Kung Fu Panda has never slept. He's been training since last night. He has that German heritage, the youthful 17-year-old body. He's never been more prepared in his entire life. I think it's going to be a great series. I do think that Bunny getting this match, getting a competitive match underway, does seek to give him the benefit. I really do like that format. I mean, it's pretty good for him.
Cannot underestimate the German player here. As good and as favored that Bunny may be going into this. We'll talk more about that because we're going to go to a quick break. When we return, we will find out the second place finisher of Group A. Will it be Bunny or will it be the German Kung Fu Panda?